Hello everyone, it is I, your favourite internet disappointment, Optical, back with another video on this Forsaken website. So we finally got our first proper look at the Silent Hill 2 remake through the gameplay trailer, and I couldn't do a video on it when it dropped because I was actually going on holiday the next day after. So I'm back now, and I just wanted to give you my perspective and my thoughts on what I think based on this trailer alone. So to get straight into it, this is a massive improvement over the combat trailer. This actually feels more into like the darker themes now, because the biggest criticism that the combat trailer presented is that it made Silent Hill 2 remake look like an action more than it was a horror, and I did kind of get that vibe from it. So anyway, along came the Silent Hill transmission, and we finally got our first actual look into Silent Hill 2 remake, and they dropped a gameplay trailer. And I'm just going to say this now, I really like it. So let's talk about it, because I do have some gripes with it as well. So first things first, Bloober has absolutely nailed the ambience of this game. They have generally just got everything on point with the way that how thick the fog and the mist is, to how like grungy and run down the buildings look. Like, they've got this down to a T. It's not too strong and it's not too weak on the audio, but it's just enough that you can kind of take in the environment around you. One of the big things around with Silent Hill 2 is that a lot of the narrative was told through the environment and through the sound design as well. I say it seems like Bloober team has really got this nailed down here. Another change that I really like is that I like how now that they've actually shown where your character is. So instead of it having to be where you'd pause the game to open up the map, it'll actually just show up like a little text at the bottom. I think that's a really good quality of life change that they've done. Again, I just love the detail that they've added to the fog and the mist as well, and all the leaves blowing by. I think that kind of really does emphasize the dreariness of it. It's, you know, it really does make this town look miserable just as much as our character is. So I think that they've really nailed that down. The walking and spring animations look a lot more smoother than what I was expecting, so they've also really done that well. Again, they've just done an incredible job just bringing the town to life in this remake. They've really just got it down perfectly. You know, there's so much little fine details, and I like how they've not made the UI and the exploration feel too intrusive. Now, this does bring me on to the bit where I am concerned about. So they did change up how you first run into the lying figure in this game and where you pick up the radio. And it is something that I still feel a little bit 50-50 on, because the whole thing that I don't like about this is that it kind of feels like it plays into that whole "it's behind me, isn't it?" with the lion figure just so sneaking up on James and then just slamming into the ground. It just doesn't really feel right in a way. But again, I will say that like this, they've massively improved the lighting on James's hair, so it doesn't look as inconsistent. The lying figure looks absolutely great, like the tie marks on their back and the just everything, and I'm just glad that they removed that quick time event. I also like how they've handled the health system as well, so it's not like the health sign coming up on your screen. It actually just borders around the character, so it really doesn't feel that intrusive. I really like that as well. That's a really good quality of life change. Now, the next area of concern that I had was actually that I'm not sure if I'm a fan of how stiff the meleeing animations look. Like, it looks almost like James has got bit too heavy-handed. I really like this change though, how you're able to actually interact with the environment to pick up your different items. And I also really like now how that you don't have to pause the game or get out of the menu to consume your health drinks. I think that's a really good quality of life change that really helps the flow and doesn't really feel like you have to pause to do a lot of small things. Also, very much like how Bloober's done with picking up the items. This bit was my favourite part. I absolutely loved how there's just a tiny detail of James writing down that location into the map. That was just absolutely just a really cool change. It's minor, but it's still just cool. Okay, so when James meets Laura, this was another thing now which I was a little bit more 50-50 on. So there's some scenes in here, especially the lighting, that look good, and this one looks okay, the lighting here. But again, it still just looks a little bit off with the whole depth of field on the cutscene. I think that could do with a little bit of adjustment. How do you know her name? And now this is finally where James and Maria arrive at Brookhaven Hospital. So I just got to say this now. This looks fantastic, the Brookhaven Hospital design. I think that this is something that, the color choices are just perfect. I also really like Maria's redesign. In some ways, I'm kind of actually leaning towards the remake design compared to the original. There's just something about it that I think is really cool. So James is currently on the first floor of Brookhaven Hospital, and it just looks beautiful yet really creepy as well. Like Bloober's really got this bit down.
Empty. More than the other places we've been.
So you've got over here, here's a save room, because you've got that little red paper there that James would walk into to save where location it's currently at. But just the design of, just the whole design of this just is incredible. I just really do think Bloober needs a massive round of applause for this. Now this wasn't in the original game, but this is in the remake. This is a really cool touch of the nurses in training, because they've made it look like the bubblehead nurses where their faces are all messy and blurred. I think that's really, really cool. But the voice acting as well is actually really good. They've kind of kept that whole B-movie feel, but at the same time, they've made it feel a lot more natural.
It's okay. We don't want to hurt you.
God damn it.
So here's the second floor of Brookhaven Hospital, and this is what I was nervous about. So they finally showed off a bit more of the combat now, and they've massively improved it. The gun sounds as well, they do sound a lot more refined, because the last one in the last combat trailer, the guns sounded a little bit plasticky almost, like they sounded quite fake and pretend, so I'm really glad that they fixed that up. This bit here, this was cool with the flickering light and the bubblehead nurse just walking right through. I thought that was really eerie. But again, so the red square only shows up when you've got your weapon in the aim down sight. And this is the bit here, so it just looks really stiff with how James hits with the rusty pipe. But again, the blocking looks better, the parrying actually is much more improved. There's no quick time event again, so that's a massive, massive positive change. But one of the things I like now is that you have to be a lot more careful with where you aim down your pistol. Whereas in the original, because of the whole fixed camera angle and the third-person view, you didn't really have to be careful where you were shooting, as long as you just got a few hits on the bubblehead nurse and then you hit him with the rusty pipe, same with the lying figure, you were good. So the lighting in this shot there looks much better. And this is where we pick up our trusty shotgun as well. So you can definitely tell that they've taken a lot of inspiration from the Resident Evil remakes in terms of how the exploration works and the whole weapon systems. I think that you can really tell they've taken inspiration from that. But I think it works. As long as it's not too extreme and they just do it. Again, this was cool. The whole, with the bubblehead nurse's head just, shifting around and glitching. I thought that was really cool as well. This was a neat touch with the whole how the flashlight actually interacts with all the cockroaches going around, that they kind of move out the way where you've got your flashlight. I thought that was a really cool piece of attention to detail from Bloober Team. But again, just room design just looks great. They are being really faithful to the whole atmosphere and design. And that's what I'm really, really glad to see. I like now how they've changed up how you do a lot of the puzzle pieces as well. So you got the line figure here as well. I'm really glad that they kept that whole thing where they crawl on the floor, because it's a really creepy thing, and I don't know, I feel like it'd be far less creepy if they'd done something else with the line figure. Again, I just really, really like how they've kept that B-movie feel of the voice acting, but they've made it sound a lot more believable as well, while also sounding, you know, a little bit cheesy on the dialogue, but it works with how they've done this. I think Luke Roberts really does do a terrific... It sounds like he's doing a terrific job with how James Sunderland walks and talks, and, you know, how he acts. I think it's really, really cool. You know, he's kept that level of the very short temperament, but still very... He's quite hesitant in a way, and I really like that. Laura sounds really good here. She kind of sounds a bit similar to the original voice actress. Obviously, I know that this is a different voice actress, but sounds really, really good here. The lighting in this cinematic here is really good as well. And, you know, they got that creepiness again of just zooming into that one creepy room. But for me, what it just boils down to is that I think that Bloober needs to refine the meleeing animations and just work on certain bits of the lighting and the depth of field on the cutscenes, because there are some bits where it looks very inconsistent, and so therefore it kind of affects how the detail of the characters look.
Behind an old pipe.
Okay, wait here. Open the door, Laura.
Why should I? I'm a liar, right? Want me to open it? Huh? Do ya?
Damn it. Let me out of here, you little brat.
In your dreams, fart face.
Please open the door. There's something in here.
Sure there is. A big lying fart face. See ya, fart face!
Laura! Laura!
So yeah, that's my thoughts for the Silent Hill 2 remake. I'm really excited for this. I think Bloober has been really faithful to the design and just the philosophy of Silent Hill 2. I still think they need to refine the meleeing animations and the lighting, but other than that, yeah, I think they've smashed it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Please take care of yourselves, love yourselves, and have a great day. See ya.